We have an extraordinary decision that was just issued by a Reagan-appointed judge, a lifelong conservative, out of a Massachusetts federal district court earlier today. Now, what this case dealt with is an important issue, whether or not, students who are here on a visa, non-citizens but here lawfully, have a First Amendment right to protected political speech. And of course, consistent with the plain language of the First Amendment and our nation's history with respect to that amendment and speech generally, the court found, of course they do. No law, as stated in the First Amendment, means no law. But something more important came out of this that I wanted to share with you. And that is this judge's statements about the urgent moment we're in with respect to facing Donald Trump's march towards authoritarianism. And what this shows to me, and it's something I'm already aware of, but something you need to understand, is that we're in an emergency right now, and we have to fight back vigorously every single day. Everything that this country stands for is on the line. Let's get to what he said, and you'll see it as well. So he starts off with taking a postcard he received that contained threats to him, and then he responds to them. Now, I will tell you, I've appeared in hundreds and hundreds of cases back when I was a litigation attorney in state and federal courts across the country. I've never seen anything remotely like this. This is the first page. It's the caption. Legal pleadings are usually very clean. And what he does is he takes this threatening postcard he received. This is someone who was confirmed by the Senate, someone with life tenure, someone who, if you threatened and gave your name, you would go to prison absolutely for sure. And he responds to it. So first, the postcard says, "Trump has pardons and tanks. What do you have?" And look how the person kind of like wrote like the Unabomber, all crazy and unhinged. And the judge responds, "Dear Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous, alone I have nothing but my sense of duty. Together we are the people of the United States, you and me. And we have nothing but our magnificent Constitution. Here's how that works out in a particular case." And then he goes through a blistering 160-page plus opinion, excoriating the Trump administration and specifically Marco Rubio and Kristi Noem. Now let's go through what he found and some of the more important statements he said about the atmosphere we exist in at this moment. So first, his conclusion. Secretaries Noem and Rubio and their several agents and subordinates acted in concert to misuse the sweeping powers of their respective offices to target non-citizen pro-Palestinians for deportation, primarily on the account of their First Amendment protected political speech. They did so in order to strike fear into similarly situated non-citizen pro-Palestinian individuals, proactively and effectively curbing lawful pro-Palestinian speech and intentionally denying such individuals, including the plaintiffs here, their freedom of speech that is their right. Now, obviously, if he found that, then he also found that they have the same First Amendment rights as everybody else. But I just wanted to point this out because it's critically important. You hear a lot of people, especially MAGA, on the internet saying, "Oh, they're foreigners, they don't have First Amendment rights." That's a bunch of BS. This case squarely presents the issue whether non-citizens lawfully present here in the United States actually have the same free speech rights as the rest of us. The court answers this constitutional question unequivocally, yes, they do. No law means no law. From the text of the First Amendment and the history behind it, obvious, clear, he's completely right. Now let's get to some of the most critical things that he said. And then there's the issue of masks. This court has listened carefully to the reasons given by Ozturk's captors for masking up. Ozturk is one of the plaintiffs who was, all she did was write a pro-Palestinian opinion piece for like the school newspaper, and she got literally kidnapped by guys in masks. You couldn't tell who they were. Apparently they were government agents, and thrown into a van. Now, addressing the issue of ICE wearing masks, law enforcement wearing masks at the federal level, and what that all means, he says, "I have listened to their excuses, and I reject their testimony as disingenuous, squalid, and dishonorable. ICE goes masked for a single reason, to terrorize Americans into quiescence, meaning into not fighting back. No wonder ICE often seems to need our respected military to guard them as they go about implementing our immigration law." And then it says, can you imagine a masked Marine, like a masked soldier? It is a matter of honor, and honor still matters. To us, masks are associated with cowardly desperados in the despised Ku Klux Klan. This is fantastic. In all our history, we have never tolerated an armed mass secret police. Carrying on in this fashion, ICE brings indelible, not exactly sure how to say that word, to be honest with you, but basically it means embarrassment on themselves, to this administration and everyone who works in it. Then he goes to a very important quote from Abraham Lincoln. And what this quote means is that it's something he gave in a speech in 1862 to Congress. And what it means is, what we do now will not only set the path for future generations and affect how they live and what they do, but it will determine whether they look upon us and give us honor, or they find that we are not entitled to any honor and we should be treated with disrespect. So how they look back on us and the path we set forward. My fellow Americans, and then it starts with, we cannot escape history, Lincoln rightly said. It will light us down in honor or dishonor to the latest generation. Now, that's a very famous speech for anybody who's into the Civil War, which I am, because it's an important moment in history. But you put all this together, and everything that Democrats said in the 2024 presidential election about how Donald Trump would be an authoritarian, how he would use the police and all the things that he would do. Actually, they underestimated how bad it is. We are in a perilous emergency moment, and you need to see it. If he sees it, it's happening. Stay focused.